Mira caliente, corazón, por favor. This is what we can, on paper, everyone is raised not thinking. Then you get to the age trying to get money through a market system originally and progressed, built for a factory racket. That color with the law is never explained. And worse than that, it was explained ulterior. So everyone's fighting to defend a bridge factory nature from an equality, but by and as the value of a campus marxist that was criminally re-engineered, by and as the value of one revealed by space nature before criminal persuasions. See, the rest of nature overall is in perfect manifest demonstration that overall the identity that is coming through temporary space nature, that was the phenomenon of evolution here, and as it is the phenomenon of Leith of Hadith, forced space nature transfer from here, as the positive identity of space onto itself. We have identity and demonstration of this. If you want to build something, they build a cast in physics, but it is combined with a nature that is clear means beyond discernment. I mean, it's capable of being discerned, but it's beyond might. It's a third nature of might and of force. Without this course, all sciences demonstrate our cause to demonstrate negative value nature progressions, Leith of Hadith, negative value nature progression natures, criminal insidiousness natures, wrongdoers. The social criminals juxtapose natures of overt criminal enterprises, and modern nations not only legalized criminal enterprise natures, but juxtapose with and as agreements to be like that in relationship to wars, because there was never science to reveal means. All through all teams. Relies who trial tribes. There are three natures. Boxing came before all modern nations came boxing. Came yin yang. Came English. There are proofs that, or that they couldn't explain what revealed English and defend treatments of history, set up inter-science to maintain evidence, criminal insidiousness nature, evidence native roles. The only means to do it are to put a counter lock bottoms counter means. In other words, stack means like beyond infrastructure, because now we supplement everything. We have to conceive every single modern nation was conceived tactically denatured in relationship to us being a value as a progression. Because this nature of campus understood not only we are our value as a progression, that's the difference between what is positive and negative value nature. Still temporary positive is negative value nature. And which we all are in relationship to perfect, but it's expanding the value of this forever nature that we are, a semi-nature of it becoming more, because the value of space is a perfect value for progression. And when that perfect value progression is not let carry its identity, perfectly progressive value, perfect treatment nature, per an ulterior from this value nature system set up, understanding this is to maintain through areas and through states only that realized collusion with internation, specifically for a fact treatment racket breakdown and exploitation to all areas that color with the law was for. Not at all for anything sense driven or that this was a fact treatment nature organized crime method that with laws, a breaching organized crime method with laws that had to people's speech. Even our founders were fact-cheating nature slaves. And that's recorded. But then we have criminal insidiousness that nature takes on positive that are claiming, for whatever reasons and because their treatment roles with everything set up to exploit each age of fact-cheating nature, which is what this did originally and still, and to keep it blamed on other then and now for the same things they had. In other words, they had crazy laws, crazier than witch trials, against everyone. Everyone was a fact cheat. Everyone, just like and Harriet Beecher Stowe from Hartford, Connecticut. I don't know where originally, but with her and Mark Twain house right next to each other, with these two stories too, and with the narratives and with the fact treatment nature. Now you think that the same organized crime method that put color with the law, black and white, did that so categorically against the Native Americans before our founders were even born. Internation already entrenched here, forcing England be the face of it by what was extorting their kings, forcing everyone to only be let realize this comparison natures, and forcing fact-cheating nature worse than unfree, not letting science demonstrate we have means way beyond this than people stacking in the recorded, worse than slavery, breaching role, criminal influences of our zoning laws, our means, our unity, which was never let. This carried us into World War I here and there together. In France, this came before modern nations. Criminal re-engineering of the Campus Martius, this ancient republic Boxings. We think Boxing came from the ancient republic. Yin Yang, painting three natures as value. Same time, painting five values as nature. Because we are not only a progression, but we are the phenomenon of progression's relationship to itself. The only real reason it's longer in temporary space nature, in Earth, where it's distinct, besides that it can demonstrate all ways at once, every finite active value and overall value at the same time, controlled by a greater identity, is relationship to itself, as the cause to the perfect value gain of the value of the temporary / lasting forever nature of the great progression by an identity's value progression. Identity as value, because positive as an identity of value. And this is our course, Alpha and Omega. Jesus Christ says, He is the Alpha, He is the Omega. He sent, in relationship to the Holy Ghost, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. In relationship to the Alpha and the Omega, relationship to themselves, which is a relationship to a nature's relationship to itself, which is in relationship to the identity of space, Allah, which is in relationship to the Trinity, which is in relationship to the Yin Yang, which is in relationship Elite of Hadith, which is relationship to what is to the extent where it becomes debatable. All these fronts that the ancients understood more. These are counter fronts that forced to a human, because religions were forced to be handed to people educated by a campus that was criminally re-engineered, not only criminally re-engineered and criminally internation influenced, but right through every fake side nation, only realized as sophistication in relationship to forsaken, tactically to exploit that and invest that, stuck. Worse. See how nothing ever evolved? Evolution comes from it works with nature. It comes from, when it doesn't, it demonstrates the need of Hadith, force-based nature transfer. So, the mean stack. I'm saying right here on YouTube, Every nation has the right now to put a game mean stack in a book. You know what I mean? Well, right. And the boroughs who will communicate on like I'll watch your thing and then I'll talk. If I just need one representative from the borough, because I don't live in New York. But if someone will believe in it, I'll promote their YouTube channel. And not just to promote myself, but this is my agenda, because I don't need it anyways. I need to go to what we all need is a way to get onto what causes evolution. We know what's going to make evolution, and this is to know this. It's what works overall up, not bottom up, which is the difference between negative and positive in the value nature, because the identity of space is also with the Trinity is related. Well, how the Trinity is in demonstration of value nature relationship to itself that our nature has as value. Our identity. And because the Trinity, because being before all finite values, physical values, and staying that while as that half out of it, because we're active quality of diffusion, we're Trinity that way too. Always this is, but even in our natures has a finite, which can be discerned with science. But this is science using only what is positive always and noting exceptions. And now you can see what's true. Then you can see what's going to cause evolution. Then science comes to a point where it's not using theory because you want to make it. You're really trying to keep evolution going. You're using prayer, and you're using positions like into infrastructure and things like that. That are going to be working with where the water's coming from, not locked on. It was all forced, locked underground, progression forced. With us, with the laws, we're against every color. You couldn't say certain things, and then they had it different with the Native Americans. Everyone's being tactically degraded, tactically pseudo-educated, pseudo-sophistication. Comparison nature as victims. Everyone's not capable of describing, because they knew that nature will continue to demonstrate negative value nature progressions, and all self-defenses of all natures will be led to it through each age of fact treatment nature, tactically exploited by men and women needing to cover up life progressions in relationship to database roles with this. Because now, these negative value nature progressions caused by space, for example, science demonstrates that that's what life progressions are caused by. And sequence shifts to cover that up. And styles, needs, and natures needing to and having are to already. See, forgiveness was for this. Everyone's a victim of not just training, way deeper. You know what I'm saying? James Madison is the founder of this country. Marbury versus Madison. See, we can't have the tricks with this. We need to. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a criminal. I'm not a police forum. I'm not military. Boxing came before every modern nation. I'll tell you, there's three natures of fighting. And the ancients had to know this, because people like it if you're fighting not for only to keep. In other words, if you're saying, "Oh my God, look what you're missing," everyone, that's what we're missing. That's what we're missing. You see these nations with people. What says it has the sophistication to be sanctioning bodies, at the same time it has the sophistication to be with nuclear weapons. At the same time, we has the sophistication to have chemical weapons and stuff like that, and investigators with that. At the same time, navies with areas, rackets, with database illusion stacking, covering up live progressions with areas crime methods, with slavery, with colonization, with early states, with today's states. Database illusion stacking. Then they make a state. You know how sick jails are? That's not how you keep people away from it. By having it too late. You keep people away from it by having real campuses. By having the campuses not with all the police forms and internation, Russian, American, shared with mental health care doctors, with physical delusions, with database illusion stacking, name forging, stealing people's identities their whole lifetimes. Not just with economic, inter-industry too, because they're just attaching people to fake relationships to everyone and their family members. They're recorded. It's recorded. I mean, they want to debate everything, but they won't deal with the sequence shifts, because at the same time they've been with areas crimes recorded, because they're pretending other things than are real or recorded. The thing to do is mean stack. You know what I'm saying? What? Even if I was wrong, which is this is measured, and there are physical delusions, interscience, not by accident, they're juxtaposed. Interscience with as a method keeping each age of fact treatment in nature, self-maintained and cultivated, sick with as the propagated branches before every modern nation came. Pseudo-sophistication nature, victim predators, and also this they knew that this, to maintain this, they sustain aggression through strangers, and that pretend other, directed through interbranch collusion with internation maintained. That's how they do it in every nation. People don't understand why people are really so evil. It's because they need to keep each age of fact treatment nature individually, grouped together, sequentially, maintained to a racket against fact treatment nature, against correlation natures, to stay everyone staying it, blaming its inherent active and simultaneously overall progressive inward outward diffusion through itself, quality of diffusion. The Trinity is manifest because by being before and as the value of all finite, even when it is how it is in nature, it stays in diffusion through itself, because it has like a leverage before even the physical leverage, and before even the metaphysical. So the value of the identity of space is in a value nature relationship to itself. Well, it's only there's semi-natures of it, the inherent portion that won't mix with temporary space nature. And so Earth is closest to this. The phenomena, because the phenomena of an identity bigger than all space always stays right to left, the same way. It never turns around. And left to right always stays the same way, as a nature unto itself, as a progression, a perfect value progression. That's why when it's out right here, it's forced away, because it's not going to stop that. But the phenomenon of it here is what the ancient snow people are about. What ratiocination is about, correlation is about. Adam and Eve is about this. Adam is the subject, Eve is the verb. A verb is not always a predicate. And a predicate is only valued because of its relationship to nature. Same way the predicate act. The predicate act and the predicate share the same nature. Predicate act is a crime that makes a negative value nature, inherently, actively, and progressively. And a predicate with English, this is where the sciences share in nature, and they share its relationship to itself, where the progression itself is a value because of its simultaneous relationship to correlation, to a method of thinking called ratiocination. and pseudo-ratiocination. They share discernment of what is ratiocination, which is not only the discernment of what is actually positive, noting all exceptions, every single one that's necessary, all necessary, because exception nature is a nature, correlation nature, as a nature. English is revealed to teach about space nature. Every part of it, between the value A, value nature, Ray. The word, it's a value, and it's a value nature. And its relationship to itself as a value as a progression, A to Z. Now that progression, if it's positive always, it's the value of the top of the Z. That's high. That's where fighting. And so when you come down to science, when it becomes debatable, that's what boxing is for too. And before promotion, see, but all promotion, they call it the ring now. It's a square. You see what I'm saying? The whole campus Marcius is criminally re-engineered. Call lost and found. We need the name. We'll play or game. Returns. Train. See native means. Call through the sky. Way redeems. This sets up problems in spring, and they make it everyone's fact cheap in nature. Blame it was all the real agenda is what is fluent through our nation is needing to stay it like that. Blamed on other things tied to terrorism, tied to nations, all for other reasons, and blaming it on themselves with native reactions and stuff like that, with means for what they would need, which they could get all different kinds of ways, like things like morphine. They can get morphine a lot better than that, but not with pseudo peace. With a value nature system that's going for life, and then have another one going for healing the sick ones, because we have a database, organized crime method, that each modern nation lost to forgiveness was for this. There's not even debatable that this should have been argument. There's parallels, these correlation that the religions are together about criminal re-engineering of international sciences of the campus Marcius, ancient republic for which we stand since before modern nations, and that didn't have free speech. Our founders. This is recorded, and they want that they want that told by sanity, not very bad people pretending they don't understand, which is what we have, because everyone was raised not to think. We have methods of the same the same crimes, systemic everywhere, because they're juxtaposed with other members of them, not overtly and unrealized to all areas, because it's maintained everyone needing to cover up lie progressions by just attaching everyone to fake sequence relationships, fake relationships, witness fabrication roles, collusion with interbranch investigators, with making mistakes on purpose, and sequence shifts, and evidence fabrications, things like that. And just knaves too, with each age of fact sheeping, because they go for the job where everyone's reliant upon everyone else, and that was set up to be exploited. So our regular nature is getting invested, worse than forsaken, measured, tortured, every position of judges are victims. They don't know how to describe it. They're Oz. It's not personal at all. It's about the fact treatment nature of black and white. That no one ever explained that. It's so simple. It was against against the Native Americans. They tactically denatured it before our founders were born. Right through our schools, they have our founders like they were slaves. They were slave roles. They were just different jobs of the crazy breaching method that took over every modern nation, only realized naive sophistication, pseudo-unity, and fluent through those fake sides, inter-nation facilitated database rackets. See the same theme with every nation with the modern people stacking. Tell you, oh, it'll be tough. The only thing is they say what makes it. What if your goal is just to be truth and to have free speech? It's not let because unless they're not let because they're stacking lies against people who try to extend free speech. They don't like free speech because they can't take it. So they have to, they have precedents set up to hurt, and they're already invested. That's how you lift. And they already have directed to their eyes in life evil through people, because the investigators of the schools unrealized are with lie progression cover-ups tied to database rackets, with inter-nation police here, with the Trade Center, tied to negotiations with all kinds of things. With our books are tactically abridged. The American history. It's not about opinions. With Native American rights, they're forsaken. Their means are forsaken. Now, the government could say, well, you can't sue us, but we can note the relationship to how they have to lie with that. And we could trace that. But they'll hurt us for doing that, because it reveals other things. It reveals their fact-cheating nature. Interscience, we have areas maintained originally in state evidence mistreatment rackets, like with fact treatments of religion, trying to only seeing it through difference, because they don't even follow. No one even read the book. All you have to read is the part that says, if you understand this right in the beginning of Genesis, you don't have to even understand the rest of the book. It's about criminal insidious nature, archetypal organized crime. It's about the devil. A breaching method against using human fact treatment nature. Put color in there for the long term, to keep, because they knew that what can't be fact treatment quality like the ancients that were unity, because they knew that difference was showing that the only difference is this body of value, radical